difficult for me to get my head around. You're going from one tier 1 unit to another tier unit. You know, you're not satisfied with just serving with the SDS. You've gone now on to 14. And so at which point do you think, you know what, I fancy another challenge. I'll just go and do another one. You know what I mean? Why not? You know, I've got 2 in the bag. I'll do another one. So at some point you decided, right, I'm going to go. How did them events unfold? Was it someone pointed out to you? Because I could be wrong here. SRR is a fairly not new concept, but it's not been around as long as the others, is it?
No. SRR officially stood up on the 5th of April 2005.
Okay, so 20 years old. 20
years old now. When I was there, it was 2010, so it had only been stood up for 5 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, the core element of it was from 14 Intelligence Company. They were basically the foundations of it. One thing to note about 14 Intelligence Company and SRR, it's the only Tier 1 SF unit in the UK which has women operators in it.
Right.
The women do the exact same training, the exact same selection process, all the exact same standards, more criticism. Okay, but it's true. I was part of the training wing. I was part of the staff. And to be honest with you, our days in Northern Ireland, 14 company, they were absolutely essential. Okay, and I'm not saying that because we used them for cover, but we used to sort of use them in ways where we couldn't use men, basically.
Yeah, well, it's common sense, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. They were absolutely fearless as well. Brilliant. I've got absolutely no criticism of them whatsoever. Seems quite strange then when SRR is stood up, all of a sudden there's a woman Sergeant Major in charge of an operational squadron within Tier 1 SF. Okay, so obviously that caused a bit of sort of raised eyebrows. I mean, obviously a lot of criticism for the woman, the sort of who was the squadron Sergeant Major. I know her. But again, I mean, within SF, you don't get it unless you deserve it. So she deserved it. And I think it's something which a lot of people don't realise, that there are Tier 1 SF female operators within the British Army.
Vital for surveillance roles, absolutely 100%. Vital, because they will be able to get into places that blokes can't and stuff like that. And let's be honest, like if you was surveillance aware, even if you weren't surveillance aware, or even if you were, you're not always looking out for a female.
No.
So I think blend in probably way more than even your kind of greyest man, really. So definitely, a very good point.
Yeah.
Was there a selection process for SRR coming from 14 in, or was it?
So for SAS guys and SBS guys, no. So they have Camp 1, Camp 2.
Right.
Camp 1 is all their selection process, sleep deprivation, weapons lessons, all basic sort of army stuff. It's really just like the wear down, sort of the sick, lame and lazy. The ones who aren't there for the real reasons. And then obviously you go on to Camp 2, and Camp 2 is where you learn the core skills of 14 Intelligence Company, broke down into basic and then advanced over so many sort of months. And that's basically sort of the core element of it. Because obviously they had stepped into the arena of UK SF, they then had to start doing a hills phase as well. So obviously this is where the criticism is going to come from. Obviously the women carrying the same weight as the guys and all the rest of it. But in my experience there, I honestly didn't notice any favoritism or any bias towards female operators. You're there, you're Tier 1, you've got a job to do, and everyone's got to make the grade. But when it came to their little hills phase, when I was initially there, it wasn't really watertight, because it was sort of like forced upon them by Director of Special Forces. It was basically says that if you want to be Tier 1, you need to do some form of hills phase.
And like, I get it a little bit, but I don't, because it's a different role. Yeah. They're not going to be doing stuff that involves carrying a massive amount of weight, whereas they're vital for a role in surveillance. So
Yeah,
it's a bit kind of not unfair, but it's just a bit not. But it doesn't really work, does it?
yeah. I mean, I think the main difference between SAS, SBS, and SRR, SAS, SBS, we've got an offensive capability.
Yeah.
SRR is 100% surveillance and reconnaissance and intelligence gathering.
Yeah.
Okay, so whenever sort of like SRR would never be expected to go in on a target. They are there as the surveillance and the reconnaissance for SAS and SBS. Yes, SAS, SBS, we've got our own surveillance capabilities. We've also got our own covert surveillance capabilities in the form of 14 intelligence company. But SRR was mainly stood up to support SAS and SBS operations in Iraq and Afghanistan. They basically used the exact same tactics that we used in Northern Ireland. The tactics we used successfully, defeat terrorism in Northern Ireland. Okay, we used that against the insurgents in Baghdad and Afghanistan successfully. So we did. It's well documented that the SAS destroyed the insurgents' capability in Baghdad.
Yeah.
Their bomb making capability. I think they dropped it down from 40 a month to 4 a month in 6 months. And that's a combination of SF working in conjunction with covert military intelligence to provide the intelligence for the SF guys, SAS, SBS, to do the strikes. Wow. So, yeah.
So we get a lot of criticism. Like you've just touched on there, you was like, they went in and destroyed the bomb-making facilities and stuff like that. I hear a lot of criticism for SES, but for British troops in Hull, they're saying, why were we in? Why did we evade Iraq? Why were we even there? It's being there on the ground is different to the kind of political kind of picture that everyone wants to be. Because everyone will go, oh, you're there for the oil. When you've been there like yourself and seen the atrocities that have gone on, it's justifiable, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Do you think that's a fair statement?
It's military necessity is what it's called. Obviously, you've got to sacrifice a few to save a lot. It's military necessity.
Yeah.
We seen it in Northern Ireland, okay, where there was incidents there which arguably could have been stopped, but because it would have exposed certain things, obviously through military necessity, okay, we had to sort of maybe not take the appropriate action that like we should have taken.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff.
But this is the thing, people get criticism for stuff. They judge the actions of the people that are willing to put themselves in harm's way without getting political about it, and then they sit behind a keyboard or behind a desk and look back in hindsight. Yeah. It's not like that. It's quick thinking, it has to happen, this has to happen. There's a bigger picture. Yeah. And I think majority of the people understand that, but you'll always get criticism from the few. It's just human nature, isn't it? Yeah. So SRR completed that. Do you know what I mean? Was there a period of time when you got what was your reasons for leaving, really? Did you start to get fed up with it or want something new? Or
no, I was actually in Iraq and I phoned home and the wife says, I've had enough. I want you out.
Okay.
I only had a short period of time left in my full pension.
Right.
And it was at the time I remember thinking, Christ, okay, you're asking me to make a decision on something which I absolutely love doing, but without going all wet and soppy. I loved my wife and my family more.